Hello everybody, this is Oksana Rudko and my brand of knitted bags La Accessory. In this video lesson, we are going to make such a cool, stylish bag with firmware. It is called Chicago. I have created it with 3 different shapes of frame and they all have slightly different size. It is 90-20 centimeters, but they have slightly different shape. And visually, as you see, they also like slightly different, and it depends on the clasp. So we do not change the calculations, we just change the clasp frame. So let's have a look. With this one, it has such leather button, and then we attach metal legs. We have leather flap, bag lock. The flap is sewn, as you see, and also here we have a short handle which we're going to crochet and a long chain. But here you can attach any shoulder strap that you like, that you can fix on the half ring. In this bag I do not have the lining yet, but I'm going to show you how to make and sew in the lining. So I'll show you how it looks without the lining. I'll show you how to hide all the ends so that they are not visible and you can leave it even without the lining. But I'd rather sew in the lining because I see these metal parts. I think it looks neater when it has the lining. This one in chocolate color. Here you see we have different legs and slightly different frame. It is rounded, so it gives the shape to the bag. Here I do not have the lining as well, but I'll show you the third one where I have already sewn in the lining, and I'll tell you everything about the size and all. So this is Chicago in terracotta color. Here it has the cognac color leather. Colors may differ, names may differ, of course, depending on manufacturer. Here I have silver accessories, a lobster clasp, a chain, and inside this bag I have already sewn in the lining, like this. And as you see, the lining is sewn in the middle of a process, not at the end, when we have made the bag but haven't sewn it to the frame yet. So be careful here, pay attention and decide at which stage you are going to sew in the lining and whether you are going to sew in the lining. The bag is rather roomy, so the height of the bag is 17 to 18 centimeters. The length here 21 together with trimming. The widest part, it may differ, 24 to 25 centimeters. It can be a little bit bigger or smaller because you have your own gauge. The depth is the same, it's 11 centimeters together with the trimming, and then a short handle which we're going to crochet together. I usually make this part is 35 to 37 plus the accessories plus 5 centimeters. That will be a little bit more. Now the chain, you can use almost any that you like depending on your height. I prefer short ones, 100 or 110 centimeters will do. So as to the materials, you will need such cord. It is a soft cord, it has 3 millimeters, and it is a little bit flat. But as you work it, it won't twist. As you work with it, it's really easy and nice. You'll need 3 skeins if they all have 100, so you need 250 to 170 meters. This terracotta color, I'm going to use leather accessories. 10 to 20 centimeters button, and here we're going to install legs, and then such a flap will be sewn onto the bag. It is cut here. Here we'll attach the bag lock. I will show you everything step by step. So now I have several clasps. I haven't decided yet which one I'll use, this one which is rectangular or that one slightly more rounded. And as to the size, they all have 19 centimeters in length. Actually, one of them is slightly shorter, but that's very little difference. So for this bag, both will do. And so you can use any of them. Then we need a bag lock. This one has such little nails. I have decided to take this one. I'll tell you why I've decided to take this one. Because when you put something into the bag, sometimes this bag lock, isn't very strong. So sometimes it's difficult to lock it, because here you have to install it at the right angle. So when you put something in the bag, sometimes this angle changes. I'll show you some other bag locks which also will suit this bag, which are more practical, I think. So then I have such small legs. They also have nails. We will attach them before we start working and then start our work, although you can attach them even later. It's also possible. So I have 4 legs. Now half circles. Here again I have 2 options. Both are matching. Slightly bigger, slightly smaller, but you need about 2 centimeters. Here you don't need bigger ones because this bag isn't so big, yeah, so you don't need a big half rings. And for a short handle we will need such lobster clasps. You will find the size in the description. They have 2 long nails. You pierce it with the fabric, or pierce the fabric that will be inside, and it will hold in place. So all this I'll show you step by step. So these are the materials that you will need. Now we'll talk about tools and we'll start. So again, have a look. I'm going to use this bag. Although I know it is a little bit specific, you have to close it at the right angle. So I think perhaps it's not the most practical, not the perfect one, yeah? So when you put something inside, you might change the angle at which it is. Sometimes you face difficulties. As an option, you can use this bag lock, which is really easy and simple. You just open it and close, like this. Then it's really easy, simple, and the width should be approximately the same so that it fits your flap. Or like this. This option is also possible. You can use this bag lock type. It will also be a good option. I'm going to use this one just because I have it in the right color and I like how it suits my bag. So you have to choose the bag that you like and that suits color of your bag. So before we start working, I wanted to have a look at the fermoirs, at these frame clasps. So I have used them all. You see that they have slightly different shape and they have slightly different pieces here. This is premium quality. I think it is visually the most beautiful one. You open it and close it like this. Then a length is about 19 centimeters. They all are 19 to 20 centimeters. So this one is 19 and that one is 20 perhaps, and 19 and a half. So each one is possible as we go, and as we will be working with this clasp, I will tell you how we work around it so that you can insert any type. So let's have a look at this one. It's also rectangular, but it is slightly wider perhaps here. And then we have a rounded one, this one, likewise. So choose the clasp that you prefer, how you want your clutch bag to look. And then according to my video lesson, you'll be able to understand how to work the bag with any of these clasps. So now we'll need crocheting tools, of course crocheting hooks. I'm going to use 4mm crocheting hook. 3.5 maybe I will use it as additional one if I need to use a slightly smaller one, if it will be difficult to insert the bigger one, to hide free ends, and maybe to sew the fermoir, the clasp, to the base of the bag. Maybe I'll use a smaller one. Then measuring tape, of course. To take your measurements, a pair of scissors. I recommend you to use a lightener so that you can burn the ends of polyfier cord, because this cord may go fraying. Then some crocheting markers to put them. I'll show you when. What we're going to mark, some thread in the matching color to sew the ends and to sew the lining. Some fabric for lining, I'll show it later. And then some sewing pins. When we insert leather accessories, I'll tell you why we need them. And some screwdriver for the screws. So these are base. Maybe as I go I will add something, but these are base. Before we start, I recommend you to install the legs into the bottom. So I have special openings here. I take it from the wrong side, and then the second part I screw it in from the wrong side. So here the most important thing is to match them so that you can, yeah, like this. If you like, you can add some glue, yeah, just to make sure it will stay put. But even like this, it's possible. So like this, you install each leg, and then we start working with the bottom. So I take first skein of cord and do the trimming. Trimming is really easy. It consists of 2 stages. First stage is we make such a braid, then we cut and make increases to start the work. You can start absolutely anywhere you like. I'm going to start here on this side. Why? Because I prefer to start here on the side. I think that working in spiral without any seams, and it won't be visible where you start and end. You won't be able to see it because it will be hidden under the clasp. And so I recommend you to start here as well. I start somewhere in the middle, insert the crochet hook, that is number 4 now. And so I grab the working thread. I will hide it later. Free end, I mean, I will hide it later. So hold this, insert the hook into the next one. So here I have my working thread. And we make a stitch. Again, insert the hook, pull the working thread, and pull it through the loop on the hook. This free end that we have here, you make sure that you work around it, and then you'll just be able to cut it. It will stay put. Grab the working thread. Length of these stitches should be enough so that you can stretch it between 2 openings. So that is approximately the length between the openings on the bottom, so you don't have to stretch them too much. Now I go on working, and at the same time I work the free end in. Again, I insert. I see the corner here, this. And again, we go on working without any additional stitches. You have to make them all the same. That's the main thing here. Make same stitches. And so like this, you go on working around the bottom. I'm not going to film it all, so I have shown you at the beginning. You just continue working one stitch in one opening till the end. Then we'll meet here and I show you how we go on working after this. Now we have almost reached the end of the trimming. First row. Then make a loop slightly bigger, about 8 centimeters, and we need to make a false stitch. For this I cut the thread and do the following. Insert the crocheting hook, like here, into the first. It's rather tight, so I'd rather take a smaller crocheting hook. You see, because I have it quite tight here. Yeah, that's it. Now, grab the working thread and then pull it through. Then I insert the hook right into the last stitch that we have made. Grab this working thread and pull it backwards to the wrong side. So you see we have created a false loop which looks just like all the others. At the end I will just slightly burn with lightener so that it won't fray. That's it. So that's going to be our first row of trimming, and now we will proceed to trimming the contour. Here we're going to have a lot of increases. I'll tell you everything by and by. So the second stage of this trimming is going to be with increases, and we will place them. First we'll place the markers where we will make increases. We'll make increases at the corner here. I'll make an increase, so I'll mark it. And here I will make 3 stitches, 3 single crochets into one. Likewise, I will make an increase into each corner. So I mark it with a knitting marker now. Here. Then on the sides, on the longer sides, we will also have increase. One here. One is next to the corner. Just make 2 single crochets. Likewise here. Here. And so we mark it so that we don't forget. Now, on short sides, we'll have an increase in every other stitch. So we've made 2 increases into the corner, skip 1. Next one, an increase. Then again, skip 1, next one, an increase. So we make increases in every other stitch. Then here, skip 1, the next one, skip 1, the next one. Here, likewise. Skip 1, an increase. And skip 1, an increase. Here, as you see, I have 18 openings, so I can't make an increases in every other. So we have to do the following. Here we have an increase, then one we skip and make an increase. Now on this side, here we have an increase, we skip one, in the next one make an increase. So we're going to move towards the center like this. On this side, we skip one, so that in the next one we make an increase. Skip one and increase. And skip one and increase. Skip one and increase. And on that side, skip one and increase. So you see that these two, they just remain in the center. They will not have an increase. That's it. On the other side, likewise, we move from the corners to the center. So like this, you make increases more or less homogeneously. So now we will start working and you will understand better. If you do not understand it now, don't worry, you'll understand it when we start working. So we are making marking like this, and the middle two remain without increase. Yeah, now it looks quite colorful, but don't worry, it will be okay. So we start the trimming in the same place where we have finished the previous row. So let's start at the stitch where we do not have an increase. So it's easier. Here will be an increase, increase. Here there will be no increase. So insert the hook. I'll take a smaller crochet hook, 3 into 5 millimeters, because we have to pierce it through the stitches which have already been knitted. So I need a smaller one. So likewise, we grab the working thread and make a loop like this. Grab the working thread and make a first stitch. So that's our first single crochet. The next one, we insert the hook, and bear in mind that's going to be with an increase. So when I say an increase, it means that one stitch is going to be ordinary and then one more will be increased into the same opening. So insert the hook into the same next one where the marker was, grab the working thread, pull it to the right side, make single crochet. Into the same opening, we insert the hook again, grab the working thread, like this. You can work around the free end as well, so that you don't have to hide it additionally. And then you have an increase here. So 2 stitches into 1. Then again we make 1. Now pay attention that in the corner, at all the corners, all 4, we'll make 2 increases, which means that in one we will make 3 stitches, 1 main and 2 additional. So that's just at the corners. So I make 1, grab working thread and make the first stitch. Again, make the second stitch to the same opening. And again, make the third stitch into the same opening, into the very same opening. Then marker. It means that we have to make 1 more increase. Every stitch which has a marker will have an increase. 1 and the second. 2 single crochets into 1. This way. then an ordinary single crochet, take the marker off, then an increase, that is 2 single crochets into 1. I have made it slightly wrong. The hook should pierce the braid inside it, not on the side. 1, and again. Then a single crochet. Take the marker off and make an increase. I'll work together with you, then you can continue on your own. Slightly pierce it here, there will be an increase. Then a single crochet. An increase. One. Two. Then 2 single crochets without increases. 1, 2, and again an increase. 1, 2. So let's work on your own till the corner. Now at the corner I'll show you again. I have already made 1 increase, that is 2 single crochets. And now at the corner we make 3 single crochets into 1. Like this. Grab the working thread and make a stitch. Like this, 3 into 1. Then we make, in the next stitch we see marker, it means that again we make an increase. Then 1 single crochet and then again an increase. 1, 2, 2, and then 1, and again an increase. 1, 2, now 1, and an increase. 2, 1, 2, 1, and into the corner we make 3. So let's make it together and then you'll continue working on your own. So now go on working. We'll meet here. I show you how to join the work and we will start making the pattern. So trimming around is almost ready. Take the markers off Here we have the last opening where we will make 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. This way we cut the thread and close this round. And we close it with a false slip stitch, likewise as we did there, but here it will just look a little bit different. So we find the first horizontal stitch on this side where we have started, insert the hook back to front, grab the free end and pull it to the wrong side. Now this free end we need to return to the right side so that we get the same stitch as all the rest. We make such a false slip stitch. So for this we need to insert the hook from back to front here, under these half loops and into the braid here. And we grab our working thread and pull it to the wrong side. So here we see our braid, which is exactly same as all the rest. I will slightly melt the free ends. When we have a little bit more of base, these free ends, we will either sew or melt and press them to the base. It's as you like it. So now let's count number of stitches that we have. For this we need to mark 1 stitch so that we know where we have started counting. And so I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, and 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80. So 80. And we have 80 stitches in the round. The number of the stitches is not going to influence the shape of the bag, because here we are working not according to the pattern, and attaching it to the clasp we are going not according to the pattern but according to another principle. So now we start making the pattern, and we'll also start in the middle of the side from this point where we have a marker. So these two we will just tie for the time being, just so that they do not stand in our way. It will be easier this way. And we start working our pattern at the same place where we started all the trimming rows, and actually you can start anywhere. So I insert the hook into the center of the stitch, of any stitch, and into the back half loop. First row is going to be worked into these two. So grab the working thread and without making a stitch, insert it into the next one, likewise into the back half loop, into the upper and back. Yeah, you see these two. and without finishing the stitch, insert the hook into the third one, into 2 half loops, back, upper and back, tighten slightly the free end, and now work all 3 together. So this loop we will adjust later, so don't pay attention at it. Then again we insert the hook in the last stitch, which we have already worked. This one, the third one. The one that was our third one. Insert the hook, grab the working thread. Now we have 2 loops on the hook, and without making a stitch, we insert the hook in the next one, likewise, into the upper and back half loops. Ready? So you have 3 loops on the hooks now, and you work them. That's it. Likewise, we have last stitch which have worked. We insert the hook again into this one, the same way, make a loop. Now we have 2 loops on the hook, but we do not finish the stitch. We insert the hook in the next one, and do not. Now 3 together. So till we have 3 loops on the hook, and like this you go on picking up stitches till you have 3 loops on the hook, and then work all 3 together. This is the first row of the pattern. Don't forget to insert the hook into the last one which you have just worked, and then the next one, and 3 together. At the corner, likewise, don't change anything here. Likewise. Do not tighten too much. Here you have to pull the loops, especially at the corners, pull them so that the stitches are nice, even, not tighten it too much. So we make the turn likewise, just follow this pattern again. And ready. So like this, we go on working in the round till the end of this row. And then we do not cut the thread anymore. We are going to go on working in spiral. I'll show you how we make a transition to the new row so that it looks nice, and then you'll just go on working in spiral without even counting the rows where it started and where it finished. You can count the rows, of course, you can put a marker so that you know where you have started, but you don't need it because you are working in spirals. So go on working till the end of this round like this. I continue working with 3.5 millimeters crocheting hook, and then I will make a transition to number 4 millimeters crocheting hook. If you like, you can start working with 4 millimeters here if it is handy for you. If you are working with 3.5 millimeters, then you have to make bigger loops, slightly bigger loops. So go on working like this in the round, and here we'll make joining and then start working in spiral. First row is almost ready, so let's finish it together like this. So let's have a look. We insert the hook in the last one we have just worked, right? Then in the next one here, where we have started this row, I'll show you a close-up. So we insert the hook here into this braid and under the back half loop. That's it. And now be attentive. Here I will tighten it. The joining here is a little bit difficult, but you just have to sort it out. So we insert the hook into the same stitch where we have just finished, as always. The same principle as always. And the transition is made, because it is already a spiral, we make the following way. Into the braid, here we see the braid with which we have started. Here it is. If you pull at the short end, you will see where the cord moves. That is your first stitch. So under it, under this braid, you see such two half loops. You see two half loops. Under the next one, you also see these two half loops. So for us, they are important because we are going to work into them. So we have inserted the hook into the one where we have just finished, and here we insert the hook into the half loops under the first braid here. Let's call it a V shape. Yeah, it's like a letter V, so let's call it a V shape. And so we insert the hook into this right half loop of this V shape under the first braid, this way. Again, I insert the hook here and under these half loops. So on the wrong side it looks like this. Grab our working thread and pull it, make 3 loops together. Here you could attach a marker so you'll be able to see where you have started working in spiral, so that you know where you have to finish the work. And then we take 4mm crocheting hook, if you haven't done this yet. And now we will go on working into the half loops, these ones. Under this braid you see these right one and left. Right we have already worked, so we'll work in the left half loop of this V shape. And so like this we insert the hook. So now you insert the hook into the next stitch, this one, and then under the upper half loop. Not the same one which you have just worked, yeah, you see, not this one, but the next one. Insert the hook under the vertical half loop here and through, and grab the working thread. You have 2 loops on the hook now. Without finishing them, we find the next vertical one, right? And here we find the right half loop. So again, you have 3 loops on the hook, work them together as a single crochet. Again, insert the hook in the next one, because here we have already worked the right half loop. Now we use the left half loop, vertical one I mean, and make a loop. Find the next one, the next one, find it, insert the right vertical half loop. It's a little bit difficult to find it because it is tilted. So if you look at the braid, then on the right side it looks like this. Grab the working thread and make 3 together. Again, the right half loop is already used, so we use the left one. Insert it into the left half loop and into the braid. And find the next one. And insert it into the back half loop. And now I'll show you here. And that's how it looks on the wrong side. Grab the working thread and work together. So you see, you already can see some part of the pattern. Then we insert the hook in the next vertical one. Right one is used, so we insert it into the left one that is left. And here we have the right half of the V shape. Here, by the way, you can see it better. I'll show you the right one here. I hope that you can see it on camera. So here you have the V shape. Yeah, you find the V shape. It has the right half and the left half. The V shape is under the horizontal stitch. So for each stitch you use the right one and the left one. And we insert the hook. Again, the left half loop. And then the right one. Find the next one for the third loop. So these half loops are tighten it a little bit, so sometimes you have to find it. Yeah, take your time. It might be a little bit difficult, but believe me, you will get used to it and you'll be able to see these half loops at once. And again, this is our V shape. The left half loop is this one, and the right one, next one, here. And work 3 together. So like this we go on working. I'll show you them. You see 1, 2, 3. Now I'm pointing at the center of the V shape. Under the braids, they are slightly tilted. Left one is better, the right one is slightly hidden, you have to pick it up. So I hope that you have understood the main principle of work here. So we go on working in the round till this point where I'll show you how to continue working the next row. So when you have learned the principle of making this pattern, you can go on working on your own in spiral. So now we have reached the transition to the next row. Here it will be visible, but in the next rows it won't. And so we go on working the same. We start with the left half loop and then finish with the right half loop of the next. Here likewise. Here we have 2 and here we have 1. That is a transition to the new row. So actually this one is where we insert it into the right half loop, make a loop, and insert it into the left half loop of the next stitch, then the right half loop of the next one, and work 3 together. And so like this we go on working Like this, we make a seamless transition and start each new row according to the same principle. So now you will make a transition in all the rows like this. Then we'll go on working the same way in spiral with this pattern. So go on working. Don't work neither too tight nor too loose, so that you do not tighten the knitted base. I will work a little bit and then show you how it should look. By the way, here I have one more bag in chocolate color, so I can already show you, because here I have slightly more rows done. You see, it's not over tightened. It looks nice. Stitches look nice. They are not tight. So up we are working about 17 rows. So I didn't count the rows, but we will count them later, of course, when you make them. I will also make a stop when I have made about 5 rows, and I'll make a stop and show you how the pattern looks. We'll measure, and then you'll go on working till the top of the bag. So now you can go on working in spiral the same pattern, making the same transition. Try not to skip any stitches. Here they are in the corner. It's slightly difficult to see it, so be attentive, especially at the corners. The right one is visible and the left one is not so visible, but we can see it and under the braid like this. And then we look for the next one, and the next one is here, and then work 3 together. So like this you go on working without changing anything till the end of this round. And when we have made the number of the rows we need, we will make the trimming. Make the trimming of the clasp, and then I'll show you how we can sew the clasp to the base of the bag. And again, I want to tell you that I do not count the number of stitches exactly. So according to the number, it can be 19 to 20 centimeters. So here you have to make the right size for the clasp that you have. I do not recommend you to use a bigger clasp. Smaller, yeah, it can be, but 20 centimeters is perfect. So we do not count the stitches, we rather measure with a measuring tape. So go on working like this till you have made the number of rows you need. As I have said, 17 centimeters. So when you turn it like this, and it will go up, and you measure it, you get 17 centimeters upwards. So I have already made several rows more. Let's count. If you can see, now you can already see it, you can already see the pattern. And so here we have such tilted half loops, and so we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so this texture is going to be our main pattern. It's rather dense, but at the same time it's also quite soft due to the cord that is soft. Yeah, it's called so. And I think that creates a really nice pattern texture. So it's not going to be over stiff. For sewing it to the clasp, it is a really good feature because you have to sew it. But the pattern is rather thick at the same time. So I wanted to show you at this stage how the pattern looks, like here. So at this stage I have almost run out of the first skein, have a little left. I think that will do for the base of the bag. I will use the second one, I mean that I have maybe a little bit more than 2 skeins. So let's move on. Now again I will tell you this is the corner. I want to show you at the corner here the loops are wider, so these V shapes are better visible. Here they are. Now you can see them better when you have worked several rows. So I'll show you again. We insert the hook into the left half loop of the V shape and make a stitch and into the braid. Make a loop and then into the right one. Ready? So these loops I do not tighten. Yeah, try not to tighten them too much. And the next one. So you see that loops are quite long. Not over tighten it. So that's it. Go on working like this upwards, the number of rows you need. And then we will meet when we finish this row and start a new one. So now I have made almost finished one skein, and before I haven't made it higher, it will be easier to sew the free ends that we have there at the bottom. For this you need a smaller crocheting hook to hide them behind some stitches, like this. So you just pull them through some of the stitches. If you have several, you can even pull several free ends together and sew several together. You can also melt them with lighter and then press it to the base. It will melt and this way it will stay put. It's all going to be hidden under the lining, so you don't worry about it. It's how you prefer to hide the free ends. So, by the way, I have a slightly different color of sewing thread, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to sew it with such invisible stitches. You just pierce, don't make any knots, just pierce the base slightly deeper, so that you make a stitch through both free ends and the base. And like this you make several stitches back and forth. And by the way, do not cut the thread. Do not do this at this stage. Leave them till you have fixed everything. So that you do not see the stitches, you insert the needle right into the hole where it has pierced and make a seam slightly into diagonal. I'll show you a close-up here, like this. Then you can cut the free ends, better cut completely. And this place where you have cut also sew with several stitches just to make sure. And then you cut the thread without any knots, so free ends are ready. So like this we sew each free end. Now the next thing is that we need to make a transition to the next skein. We need to adjust new one. I almost ran out of the skein, so I'll make several stitches more and then show you how I attach new skein. I do not like to sew polyfier cord. I have a slightly different method. I just take new skein like this, and this free end I leave, and that one I insert a little bit further and just grab a new one as I start a new stitch without working it. Insert it into the next one, into the right half loop, and make a stitch. So like this you have started new cord. Those free ends I'll also work into the base. I'll tie them for the time being, and then I will be able to hide them just under some of the stitches. And so like this you just go on working the second skein and maybe a little bit from the third skein. So go on working like this, and we'll meet when you are working the last row. So that's how the pattern looks, with such an interesting texture. So I have worked 17 centimeters in height. So let's count how many rows we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 24. Yeah, that's right. It's really easy to count it using these tilted braids. You may have a slightly different number. You can even adjust the height as you like it, make the bag shorter or higher. You can check whether it is going to keep the shape that you need, so that you can understand whether you want to make the bag higher or not. Or you can even try the flap on and make sure that it is enough, and then decide, yeah, whether you want to make higher or lower. I'll stop at this stage, and the last row is going to be trimming with slip stitches. So I finish several more stitches, and then I start to slip stitch row. I finish here where I have a marker. So one more, and I will be starting slip stitch row. So now, how to make a transition to a slip stitch row? We insert the hook under the next stitch, this one, which we haven't worked yet, into the back half loop, grab the working thread and work through the loop on the hook. So it is the first slip stitch. In the next one, again, grab the working thread and work through the loop on the hook. The next one, under the upper half loop or back half loop, it's the same, and grab the working thread, again insert the hook, make a slip stitch, insert the hook, make a slip stitch. So you see we get such a really nice trimming braid. And so like this we go on working in the round till this point where we will finish together, and I'll show you how to work next. So go on working on your own, and we will meet when you have made this round. So I have reached the beginning of the work here where the marker is. So I also have one more stitch to make, and this is already 79 stitches. If we count starting with this 79, then we need to pull the working thread, make a long loop enough to make a full slip stitch, and now we take this braid and make a full slip stitch like we did before. Back to front, insert the hook, pull the thread, and then we return it back where it has started. I want to pierce several more stitches just to fix it better. This way, and pull it through. So, like this, we have made the transition, which is almost invisible, and then around you have 80 stitches. But we do not have to count the stitches, because on the clasp and here the number of stitches will be different and it doesn't matter. I'll tell you how we are going to sew the clasp so that it looks fine even without counting the number of stitches. So, base of the bag is ready. I have already hidden all the free ends, so now I'll take this marker off, and here we could have started sewing the clasp to the bag, but I would rather suggest you to make the lining, because at this stage it is easier to measure, to take the measurement, to cut and sew in the lining. But there is one thing that you have to know, as we have a leather flap which is going to be sewn here, we need to make it so that we sew the lining, leaving one part where the flap is going to be. So we'll just leave a little bit of thread, which we'll use for finishing it later. So when we have already attached the clasp, it would be easier for us to make on one side than all along the perimeter. So I recommend you to do this way. Actually, you can make the bag according to the masterclass and only after this sew the lining in, so it's up to you. I prefer to make the lining now. If it wasn't for this leather flap, I'd be making lining now, but at this stage maybe it won't be comfortable for some of you because you'll have to sew this thing under the lining. That's why I think that it's just be reasonable to sew the flap and then the lining. So now I'll show you how to cut, sew and sew in the lining, and then after we have made this, we will then proceed to the clasp. So for the lining I have chosen such cherry colored linen. It seems to me that it is going to make a really nice color. So I decided to use such colorful lining. The lining for this bag is made really easy because it has an easy shape. And now we need to take measurements for one rectangular piece of fabric, and we need to take several measurements: the width of this piece and the height. I'm sorry if I draw not perfectly. So the width of the lining is going to be the circumference of the bag divided by 2, and we add 3 centimeters for seam allowances. So let's measure the circumference of the bag. Each bag will have its own number. So I'll start measuring here where I have this transition, so that just I remember where I have started measuring. Doesn't matter actually, it's better to mark it with some pin or knitting marker. Here you can measure it a little bit lower because you're going to sew the lining a little bit lower, not right at the top. And so like this we go on moving all along, pressing measuring tape really hard. It's important. So you do not stretch the bag, but you press the measuring tape so that you measure the circumference right. without any mistakes. And so like this, we go on moving in the round. Like this. So following this line, you will be sewing the lining into the back. I got 65 centimeters. We can take 66 or 65 approximately. So the width will be 65 divided by 2 plus 3. And that will be 65 divided by 2 is 33, let's say. Yeah, 32 and a half. Plus 3 is 35 and a half. So this side of the fabric is going to be 35 and 5 centimeters. Now let's measure the height. The height of the bag we are going to measure from the center. Again, from the point where you are going to sew the lining, all the way down, pressing the measuring tape really well to the fabric. Like this. So I got 41 centimeter, and then the height will be 41, and we also add 3 centimeters for the seam allowance. That is 44 centimeters. So it is 35 and 5 to 44. You will have your number, of course, because you measure your bag. Then we will sew these pieces, and then we will shape the bottom in the lower part of the fabric. We'll measure the bottom at once so that we know that we have to bear this in mind. So the bottom of the bag, I measure the width of the bottom, 10.5 centimeters. So this is the width plus trimming. So I write down width is 10 centimeters, 5 millimeters. I'm going to shape it when we have already sewn the lining, then I'll tell you how we do this. So now you need to cut the piece of fabric 35 and 5 centimeters to 44 centimeters, and then I'll show you how we're going to sew it. So now fabric is ready, and as to the width here, I have 35 and 5 centimeters and length 44 centimeters. You will need some sewing pins to mark first seams. I'm not going to show you how I sew it on the sewing machine. You can sew it on the sewing machine or by hand. I'll just show you that first you have to make the seams here. They will be visible. These ones, we are going to sew it into the bag, so we need to fold a 1.5 centimeter on the right side to the wrong side, like this, and fix it with some sewing pins, like this, 1.5. So we had 3 centimeters for the seam allowance. It means 1.5 centimeter on each side. On this side, where we have 35 centimeters, smaller side. And on the other side, likewise. That's it. So now you need to make one seam here and one seam on the opposite side here. And if you have a tag or a label, I always sew it in the middle on one of the sides, which is going to be the back side here in the middle of the lining, so you can sew it at once. Make these 2 seams and then I show you what we do next. So after you have made first seams here and here, you fold the fabric with the right sides facing each other. This way, if I double, so that right side to the right side. We're looking at the wrong side now, and now we need to make side seams, this one and this one, so that we actually sew the lining. Also, first pin it with some sewing pins in place, skipping 1.5 centimeter on the side. And on the other side, make these 2 seams, and then we'll have just to shape the bottom. I'll show you how to do this. And lining will be ready. Here likewise. And now pin it and then make a seam. This way. So now I have made side seams, right? And now we will shape the bottom or the depth of the bag. We need to open the fabric like this so that you can see the corner and the seam in the center. You have to open it so that this seam is right in the center and the sides are the same. If you draw a line like this, yeah, these sides will be the same. And then we take a ruler and measure 10.5 centimeters, that is the width of our bottom, so that 5 and 5.7, no, 5.2 centimeters are same on both sides, so that the number on both sides is same. So here exactly I have this mark, 5 and 2. So I'll pin it in place. Then following this line, now I'll add one more. And then following this line, I'm going to make a seam on one side. Which will make depth of the bag. On the other side, we do absolutely the same. Draw the line. Make sure that triangle has same distances on both sides. Like this. Also pin it in place. This way. So these are going to be the last seams that we make, and then we'll start sewing the lining into the bag. So now our lining is ready. That's the way it looks on the inside, where we have the right side of the lining with the side seams, and now we insert it into the bag. So actually we will have to sew not only the flap, but we'll also have to insert the bag lock. That's why we're going to sew it following way. Approximately like this. We will sew one side this way. We'll leave it. All the rest we will sew and also leave a little space for the backlog. Just sew the sides so that when we make the flap, it will be easy to sew it. And then those spaces left we will sew when we have already attached all the accessories. So now as to sewing this into the back, let's find the place for it, the right place. It would be better to pin it with some sewing pins so that it won't shift and change its position. Somewhere here. Here. We'll do this later, so now let's pin it. I have a linen lining, so it's really easy to sew it, but if, for example, you have some silky fabric, it will start shifting, so it is better to fix it this way. And after you have pinned it in place all around, we will start sewing from the side, then stop, leave some gap, take a new thread, then we will continue and then work with a clasp. So let's make this marking and then I show you the seam. So I have already pinned everything in place. The lining is fixed in place. So now to the seam. I take thread in matching color, same color as my fabric. The seams are not going to be visible, so don't worry that color of thread is not the same as color of the base. So approximately this part I'm not going to sew now. It could be about 12 centimeters. So I'll start here. And first you have to fix the thread into the fabric with a knot or a loop. If you are sewing it 2 strands, you could make a loop. And then I'll make a zoom in and show you how I make the seam. So we have fixed the thread in the base. We pierce the fabric right into the top here horizontally, like this. So you pierce it and go horizontally right into the top of the fold when you made the first seam on the lining. You now pierce it through like this and the thread goes inside, so it is invisible. Tighten it and make a stitch into the base. You can pierce it through, but on the right side you make a teeny tiny stitch and you insert the needle right into the opening where you have just pierced it, but on the wrong side you move it into diagonal slightly to the left, several millimeters, 5 millimeters to the left. Make sure that everything is okay. You can't see the thread on the right side, and so you repeat it. Pierce right into the top and then pierce it through the base, but return in the same opening. Return by piercing the thread right into the opening where you have just pierced it, and on this side you make a stitch in diagonal and pierce it through slightly further. So check. I can take this pin off already. And so I pierce it like this into the fabric. And like this, go on working till this point. There we will meet, and then we will start sewing the other side. So we will have two pieces where we haven't sewn the lining. We'll sew it later because it will be easier to do so. So I finish on this side. I'll pierce it like this. And yeah, perhaps I'll start sewing here. So I skip, well, perhaps I'll make one more stitch. Then I skip some distance, which I'll use for sewing the flap. Pierce it here. Like this. And I'll leave the thread. I'll take the needle, but leave the thread, don't cut it. We'll use it later. Now I'll take a new thread and start sewing on the other side. So here I have a new thread. I'll start sewing here. First fix it into the base, and then I go on sewing likewise till this point, where I'll again stop and leave the thread. Like this. So here I think you have already understood how we make this seam. Also sew this piece and leave the thread. So likewise I make a stitch into the base and into the fabric. Like this. Let's sew this part, and then we'll proceed to the clasp. So what do we have now? Now we have two openings on both sides. And we'll use them for accessories. Then we'll sew them, of course. I take this marker off. So now we need to work with a clasp. I'm going to use such clasp. This one, not the rounded one, but the rectangular one. Now I'll show you how you check whether it fits. If you place it like this, you might see that the size of the clasp is not the same as the size of the bag. That is okay, yeah? So, of course, if it isn't too much. So you don't need too much of the fabric for the clasp. But in my case, if the circumference of the bag is on this side it was about 66 centimeters. You measure your bag. Here you can measure the circumference like this, following the contour of the clasp. So you have to see if you have a difference in size. I'll show you how to spread the base on the clasp so that it is not a problem. So I measure approximately, of course, and so I get 61. You see, about 5 centimeters. Bag is bigger than the clasp, but it is okay. Now we will make a trimming for the clasp, and then I'll show you how to spread the fabric of the base of the bag so that it looks fine on a smaller clasp. You will need markers so that you can mark the places and count the stitches. It's absolutely not difficult, so don't worry. So let's start trimming the clasp. To trim the clasp, we start here, the place where it joins. So you need to take the cord you are using, crocheting hook 4 millimeters as well. I pull the thread from above, like this, from below that is, yeah, actually the working thread will be above. The short end I hold like this, cross it with the long one, and make the first stitch around the clasp, like this. Then I grab the working thread, make a yarn over the hook, then I hold it with my fingers and make a stitch. You see? So I made a yarn over in front of the clasp and I make a stitch behind clasp. And again, make a yarn over. Also, you have to make the size of the stitches so that they cover the clasp. They should be tight, one next to the other, without any gaps. Again, make a stitch, tighten it slightly so that it fits the size of the clasp. So here you work tight, yeah, you do not make loose stitches. And we do not count the stitches, we don't need this, we just have to cover the metal this way. And tighten it. And again. Like this. You see this place is slightly narrower, this part of the clasp, so here I'll make smaller stitches, smaller loops. If your cord starts twisting, you have to untwist it and tighten it all the time, and so like this, you just go on working all the time till the next place of joining two parts. So like this, you go on working. Here where we have this place, I'll show you how to make a transition to the other side of the clasp. Same principle. So I'll show you again. We make a yarn over to the right side, adjust the length of the thread, grab the working thread and make a stitch. And again, make a yarn over, adjust the length, grab the working thread and make a stitch. And third time I'll show you, yarn over, tighten, make a stitch, and it's ready. And so like this, you see how nice you can trim the metal part. So one side is almost ready here. Here I'd like to tighten it a little bit and add one more stitch. And now when you have to make the transition to the other side, yeah, actually here I want to make it smaller. Here we have to adjust it according to the size. Yeah, I'll make one more. Yeah, now it's perfect. So we need to make a transition now to the other side of this clasp, and we make a chain. As here you see, the place is really narrow, one chain will do, but if it was wider, then I'd make several chains. And now I'll just continue working the same way. So make a yarn over and stitch. If you have premium clasp, it's going to be wider, much wider here. Then you have to make 2 or 3 chains just instead of one. It depends on the distance. So here you have to have a look how much space you have for 1, for 2, or for 3 chains. It doesn't matter, just fit it to the size of the clasp. So that's it. And now you go on working till the next point where you'll have to make the transition, making trimming around the clasp. And also you don't need to count the number of stitches. You don't have to make the same number of stitches here and there, because we're going to sew not counting, without counting the stitches. So it doesn't matter that you have a different number of stitches here and there. It's not going to influence anything. So go on working like this, just filling the space, covering the metal part of the clasp till this point, then where you make the transition again, and we will close our work. And then we'll be sewing, which is, I think, the most important thing is to sew the clasp to the base. When you have already sewn the flap, the clasp, then the bag will attain the shape that you want to achieve. So go on working like this till you have trimmed all the clasp. So now, when you have almost made the trimming, I want to show you, I want to make one more stitch. I think that I can fit one more. Here, tighten it really well. That's it. And then we'll make one chain as we did on the other side. I'll cut the thread and make a false slip stitch to join the round. If you have a wider, then you have to make 2 chains and the third will be false slip stitch. So in my case, I have to make only one, so I cut the thread and make a false slip stitch, which at the same time is going to be joining the round into the first stitch on the other side. I'll take a smaller crocheting hook because it is so tight here. So I will grab the working thread like this, as we did before when we were making false slip stitches on the base of the bag. And now we need to insert this free end here. So we come from this side. And so we have finished trimming of the clasp. These free ends will be able to hide later and sew them to the base when we have adjusted the clasp. So now we need to sew the clasp to the base. This is the most interesting part, I think. So we take the base and the clasp with a trimming. So I haven't hidden the free ends on the base. I will hide them later. So I'm not going to count stitches. So I know that there I have 80, here I haven't counted. So to start with, I'll show you how we make the marks. We need some knitting markers to spread our stitches without counting them, but to make them look that it is homogeneous, not more stitches on one side, less on the other. So as soon as we make the marking, I'll show you how we are going to sew it, because the number of stitches is not the same. It is different on one and the other. So if you have a premium, it will be like this. It's also okay. You put it this way and do the marking according to this. If you have the one like mine, you can open it completely like this. So I put it like this. You see visually that this side will be for the side of the clasp, and the longer front and back will be for the front and back part of the clasp. But here we need to make it a little bit more precise, because this part where it folds should be exactly in the center of the side, or in the center of the bottom here. I recommend you to take a marker and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So number 5 will be the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And so I follow this line to find where the center of the side is here, right? So this is the center of the side of the bag. And likewise, I will mark the center on the other side. So here again, I do not count stitches, I visually find the center. Now, when you have made it, if you like, you can count the number of stitches here on this side and on that side. If it is the same, it is okay. Well, let's count, just let's find it out. So I have 39 stitches on both sides without counting the ones where the markers are. So before the marker, I have 39 stitches. So I have divided it visually, but as you see, the number of stitches is the same as well. And now we come back to the clasp. So let's have a look. We have such rounded places, rounded corners on the clasp, these ones, like a transition from one side to the other. You have to find some spot. It's important to make it visually all the same on all 4 corners, where you are going to make the corner. So you mark it at the corners like this, here. Okay, let's count the stitches just to make sure. I'll slightly shift it, perhaps. So we try to make it symmetrical, more or less. We count the stitches between the markers 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 33. So you'll have 33 stitches between these 2 markers. I do not count the markers, yeah? Do not count the stitches where the markers are. Here we also have to mark 33 stitches. So I find one corner, let's say here, and then count 33 stitches on the other side. actually it is approximate, maybe 1 or 2 stitches more or less. If it is 1 stitch, it won't affect anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. So here in the 34th stitch I'll place a marker so that we have 33 between the markers. So now I have to mark these corners on the base of the bag. So here is the center, right? So we need to place the fold where it is being folded, approximately like this, opposite the markers. And now you make the marks here where the corner on the clasp is, like this. Okay, here I do not count the stitches, I just visually decide where it will be matching. Of course, we will count later. If you have 1 or 2 stitches difference, you can shift the marker, that's also okay. So here it's like this. You have the center. And then you match the corners so that everything is matching. Here as well. So now let's count the number of stitches here between the markers. Don't count the marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So 19 between the markers. Now let's count here as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah, that's right. Okay, it's matching. Here I have 19 stitches between the markers, so it is okay. I'm going to count on the side. We'll count them when we sew them. So we have marked the corners, and we can start sewing by matching the middle of the side and the fold of the clasp. Now I'll tell you how to sew it and show everything step by step. So we are going to count each space between the markers. We don't have a marker here, but we have this fold here. So we will have a look how different number of stitches is. So practically, let's see. Here we have the loop that is opposite the fold. It is matching the marker. Let's not count them. Let's count the next one. So starting with the next one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15. And on the clasp, this has 15 stitches. Now on the base, let's count how many on the base. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have only 10. So here we have 15 and there 10. we have 5 spare stitches, so we have to sew it so that we spread these 5 stitches homogeneously. So let's start. I am going to use 4 millimeters crochet hook, the same one, and the cord, the same cord which we have used. So insert the hook into the braid here, which is opposite the fold. It's a false slip stitch, so I'll have to make a knot. Like this. So I'll insert the hook into that stitch. Then where the marker is on the base, this loop, we have to insert it like this. You see, I have one loop, one half loop from the base. The braids are like this on the outside. So you have to insert only the outer topmost half loop this way. And when you have inserted the hook into one half loop on the clasp and one half loop on the base, you grab the working thread and make a loop. This free, and you have to tighten it for the time being. We'll hide it later. Let it be. So then we remember that we have 5 spare stitches. We have 15 and 10. So it means that we'll have to skip 5 stitches. And we need to make the same number of stitches between those ones that we skip. So for example, you make 1 stitch, then in every 2 make 1 again. So what I mean is I'll make the next one, insert the hook in the next one. Let me see. Yeah, here it is. Next stitch on the clasp and the next stitch on the base. Pull the working thread, make a loop, and through the loop on the hook. Now we need to skip 1. I'll skip 1. Remember that we will have to skip 5 times. Make a longer loop, so I insert it into the next one on the clasp, but I do not skip on the base. Yeah, I skipped on the clasp, but I do not skip anything on the base. Then the next one here and here. Then make a slightly longer loop because you will skip 1 and insert the hook in the next one on the clasp, but do not skip it on the base. So we skip only on the clasp because it has 15 and the base has 10. That's how you sew it. So again, a stitch into the next one, then make a longer loop, skip 1, then 1. So you can check whether everything is okay. When you're closer here, you'll see how many stitches you have left. So you can count and compare. And again, skip 1 and make into the next. Now let's have a look. Yeah, that's it. The next one, we make a stitch, and the next one we make longer and skip 1. And so like this we go on working till the marker. Make a stitch where the markers are. For this I'll take them off. Now when you have made this stitch, we stop. Even make a longer one so that you don't lose it. Now we need to count. Here we had 19 stitches on the base, as far as I remember. So now we need to count the number of stitches on the clasp. Without the one, here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. Okay, if it was 38, then it would be double. And then we have 33, so slightly different ratio. Somewhere we'll have to skip one, and so we will have different number of stitches that we skip. Somewhere we'll make 2 in a row and then we'll skip. So to get 33, we'll have to use different ratio. We'll have to make them more or less homogeneous. So here it is a little bit creative and you have to see visually what you get. For example, here I would skip one because this loop on the base which I'm going to sew, it goes across approximately here. So here visually you see where you can skip the stitch, make the stitch a little bit, make the loop on the hook, I mean, a little bit longer. And make a stitch. And then I'll make a stitch without skipping, make 2 stitches in a row, 1, 2, and then I'll skip 1 here, then make 1 stitch and skip again. Then I skip. Then do not skip. So here you have to find the ratio to get the right number of stitches by skipping some of them. Then I'll skip. Here you have to see visually the length of the stitches where you see that you could skip so that it looks nice, so that it looks like it is matching. Here, for example, I make a stitch and then skip. Here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here we could skip every other because I see that the number is enough. So that we have matching distance. And visually, of course, make sure that it looks okay. You do not see that anything is wrong. Like this. So you have to count all the time and see whether you need to skip the stitches or you do not need to skip, or you need to skip every other, or you can make 2 stitches and then skip. It also depends on the number of your stitches, because your number of stitches might be different from mine. So here it looks like this. And then all the same, like we did on the other side. Count the stitches just to make sure the number of stitches here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16, yeah? Don't count the marker. And then here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16 and 8. Exactly, in every other, yeah? There I had 15 and... no, wait. There I had... how many? I forgot. Here I have to skip in every other stitch. Okay, where the marker is, I'll make a stitch. And then we skip one, make a stitch, skip one, make a stitch. So my ratio here is like this. You might have different number of stitches here as well. Now make one and skip here. Now then I skip here and make a stitch. And then skip and make a stitch. And on the, you remember that we skip only on the clasp. We do not skip, never skip on the base, yeah? Only on the clasp. It's peculiarity of this clasp that we have more stitches than on the base. Make a stitch. And then again we skip. Make a stitch. And skip again. So here I have such a little stitch. I'll make it here and skip the next one. And then this loop here, which is opposite, we make a stitch. I'll take the marker off. Okay. Like this. So actually here we can make it this way and have a look what do we get as a result, whether everything is okay. Of course we are going to close the clasp like this, inwards. Yeah. And so like this you go on working and sew the other side. Sew this part and meet here. We'll check that everything is okay and then we'll close the row. So I have almost finished sewing the clasp. I'll show you all the free ends I have inside, haven't hidden them yet. So here I skip and make a stitch. Then here I look where I should make the stitch. Let me see, maybe here. This way. And that's it. Now we can make a false slip stitch. But let's check first. So before you cut the thread, close the clasp. Make sure that everything is okay. You can close it and check the shape of the bag, whether it is symmetrical. Yeah, more or less. Of course, there might be some slight differences, especially here, because number of stitches is different. So here what we should get as a result, if you did everything right and you are satisfied with the result, you can cut the thread and close. If you don't like something, better undo it and try to trim it again. So cut the free end. And we make a false slip stitch. Actually, here we can insert it into any stitch, this one for example. Grab the free end. And then I return it back so that we have a nice braid. And then all the rest I will hide so that it repeats the pattern, doesn't break it. Yeah, try to pull it like this. You see, it kind of continues the pattern and you can't see it. Now these three ends I'm going to sew. It is a little bit difficult. Here you have to hide them behind the stitches here and then sew them. And then we'll start sewing the flap. Insert the bag lock. Then we'll be able to sew the lining completely. And at once I want to tell you about the lining, that when you have this kind of clasp, the lining could be sewn at the very end. But as I show you several types of fermoirs clasps. Here I haven't sewn the lining yet, but I'm going to. You see, this one, for example, you can't open it completely. So sewing here will be much more difficult. That's why I decided to advise you to sew the lining on the sides at once and then sew it completely. So it's just for your comfort. It will be easy. Here, of course, I will sew it somehow. It will be difficult, but I'll do it. So I'll just try to make it handy for you. So now I have sewn all the free ends. I have hidden them. And as you see, a flap is going to be on this side because I have a label on a tag on my lining, and the bag lock will be on this side. If it wasn't for this label, the bag will have two absolutely same sides, so you have to choose one which you like best, and you would like it to be the front part of the bag, and the other will be the back. So in this case, we could first insert the bag lock and then sew the flap, or vice versa. So I'm going to sew the flap first. I just don't like when I sew the flap and the bag lock is already attached, so it's not handy. I'll first sew the flap and then attach the bag lock. So here you have to have a look at the flap and decide where you want it to be, taking into account the bag lock. Add the bag lock so to see where you want the flap to be. I see visually that I'd like it to be at this level. Here it should go along one straight line. And also you have to center it so that on the right and on the left you have the same distance. When you have centered it, have a look where you need to sew the flap. You can take some sewing pins and pin in place this space where we are going to make the flap. Then you'll be able to take it off, take your hand off, and have a look whether it looks okay. If you are satisfied with the result, then you can start sewing it. So I decided to take beige color for sewing, the same color as this one on the flap. And it's usual cotton thread, so I use it in 3 strands. If you have a thicker one, you don't need to make as much, and I'll make several stitches in one opening to make it stronger. Here I use a really simple way of sewing. I'll start and then you'll understand the principle and sew it yourself. So I'll fix the thread in the base first. Yeah, I pierce it through. And at once I will pierce it so that it gets into the first opening of the flap here. And so we make several stitches in each opening. But if you have a strong thread, you don't have to do this. You can make one. I'm going to make several stitches because I have a thin thread, so I have to take it in 3 strands. And make a stitch. And then I go into the next opening from the inside. And then I turn it carefully here. And so like this, we go on sewing till the end of the flap, then fix the thread in the base, and the flap is ready. So sew your flap. I make the last stitch. Pay attention that I sew it along a straight line, so you do not tilt it, do not shift it higher or lower. Make a nice seam. And the second one. As you remember, I decided to make several stitches. And so make a knot, fix the thread somehow, make a double knot. So here you have to fix it really well. I also like to make several stitches back and forth into the base, back and forth, and the thread remains inside. You don't have even to make any knots. If you hide the thread in the base several times, it will stay put. So now the flap is ready. Yeah, that's right. You see, and even this line looks so nice. And so now we start inserting the bag lock. Our bag lock consists of 2 pieces and 2 nails. So insert the upper part of the bag lock. I have it here, which has 4 centimeters. So it is exactly the size I need for this flap. So here you have to place it in the center. If you have a bigger flap, then you have to center it. I'll take a screwdriver and insert this nail. Oops. Like this, ready. Now let's have a look whether it is centered. Okay, yeah. Now I'll insert the second one and check again. So I think I would rather shift it 1 millimeter to the left because it's not quite in the center. Yeah, so I decided to shift the lock, and now we need to install the lower part. By the way, we also have such metal plate for the lower parts and recommend to use it to make a stronger bag lock. So we have to close it and pierce the base of the bag with these teeth, metal teeth that we have, to find where do we have to place the lower part of the bag lock. So when you have fixed it, you can then open it and have a look from the inside where it is going to be. And now insert it here. Try to pierce it between the rows. It will be easier to install it if you pierce into the opening between the rows like this. Then you insert. I see that here it would be difficult to fix, so I'll undo a little bit of my seam because I need more space to get inside. I'll sew it again anyway, and then I'll take this metal plate. It's difficult for me to show, so I take this metal plate and insert it like this into the lock. I fix the teeth of the lock with this metal plate. Here you see, I have installed it like this, and then I need some pliers or something and fold each tooth towards the center. I can't show you because there is some little space, so you just press them. Yeah, you see, you press them to fix the metal plate, to make it hold. So you bend each teeth to fix the bag lock. And then we will proceed to the next stage. So I'll try to show you how it looks when the metal plate is installed, like this. So now you can continue sewing all the lining. Check whether the bag lock works. Okay, you see already such a beautiful glass bag we have. So and now we have to add the short handle, which will attach to the sides. I have such half rings. I think they will be nice for this bag. The size of the half rings is the size of the half rings is 2 centimeters. Here you don't need bigger ones. 1.5 or 2 centimeters will do. We are going to sew it right here in the center. I'll show you on one side and then you can sew it on both sides. So you will need such a metal or plastic darning needle, the cord that you use, a little piece will do, and so we at this side we sew the half rings. Exactly where you have to center, yeah, it doesn't matter where. The most important thing is that it is centered here, or higher. It's up to you how you like it. So I'll open this. So to start with I'll do this way so that I see how it goes. And I just insert into any two half loops, any of the half loops, here and here. And then through the half ring, make stitches. So actually we are making stitches around this side of the half ring. I'll make several times in one opening to make a stronger seam. And then we'll make several stitches to the inside. So for now, let's make stitches around the half ring. You sew just into any half loops that are next to the half ring. Doesn't matter where exactly you sew it, we just have to cover this side of the half ring. And make it strong, of course. And so we sew it. From time to time, check it, make sure that it is in the center, that you are sewing it okay. Maybe even like this, I think it'd be easier. You can put it up, hold it, so sew it as you like. Also want to make one more stitch here, like this. And then here we could pierce it all the way through, like pierce it through, not just into the half loops, but pierce it through. But check before this, check if everything is okay. Pull the thread inside and check whether you have sewn it all right. That's good, okay. Also, you can make several stitches on the inside, but very carefully so that it's not visible when you open the bag. This way. So let's have a look. This way. This thread I'll leave inside, and that one that we have on the right side now, I'll take some thin crocheting hook and pull it inside this way. And like this, hide it. Here, tighten all the free ends, make sure that you have sewn it okay, and then you can cut and sew in the free ends. Yeah, that's right. Sew the free ends inside the bag. Now sew the second half ring on the other side, likewise. So I have already sewn the half rings. I haven't sewn the free ends yet, but you have to do it now. And then we have to make the handle. So if you want to crochet the handle, you need such holders for the handle. I have quite massive ones. They have a nice quality. You have to fix the handle inside with such long nails. So I'll put it aside because we first need to crochet the handle. Here in this bag, I have already made such handle. You can see how it looks together with holders. Pattern for the handle is absolutely the same as a pattern for the bag. But to start and end the work, we are going different because we need to make the edges maximum thin and light because we need to put it inside the holder. All the rest will work according to our base pattern. length of the handle can be any, so the visible part, although perhaps I should have measured when it was without the holders, so 37 centimeters. And this can be more or less if you like longer handle or shorter. So in total I had about 40 centimeters together with these 2 centimeters that I have under the holder. So now I'll show you how to start working the handle, the pattern, and then you can go on working the length that you need. And actually we have to adjust the handle and our bag will be ready. So let's get started. Here we are working with crocheting hook 4 millimeters as well. Make the preparative stitch. By the way, I haven't shown you the preparative stitch in this master class. Short end we put on the long one and cross them like this. Hold this loop with my fingers. Insert the crocheting hook, pull the working thread, tighten it, and then we cast on 6 chains. Work loose, do not tighten the stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we close it into the round. Join it into the round so that the braid goes like this. They're looking at one at the other. And so we insert the hook into the first braid under the upper half loop. Like this. Like this. Into the first half loops. And pull the working thread like this. Make a chain. So this is the first stitch. Then you can turn it inside out like this. It will be easier to work. And here we will make in each stitch a single crochet. So first is ready, into the second make a single crochet and count 2, again make a single crochet 3 and make a single crochet into the upper half loop 4 and again into the braid, upper half loop 5 and again have a look where the braid is, 6 and 6 more. So you see we have a new round, but we work only into the upper half loops, into this one 7, the next one 8, then to the upper half loop 9, into the next one 10, into the next one 11 and 12. So like this we have made 2 rows of single crochets in spiral into the back half loop so that they are really soft and we'll be able to insert it into the holder. So now we will change the pattern. The difficulty of this pattern now is going to be that here we have a very small radius. If it was bigger, then it would be easier. So it's not really easy to work this pattern. That's why I recommend you not to tighten the stitches. So just don't tighten the stitches. It will be easier for you to work. And so we start our pattern. First, we work into these upper braids, insert the hook into the upper braid, next one after the previous stitch, the last stitch we've made, and without finishing the stitch, insert it into the next. Now you have 3 loops on the hook, try to make longer loops, do not tighten the work, and work all 3 together. Now you can mark this with a knitting marker. That will mean that this was our first stitch, so in each next row you'll know where you have started the row. And again, we insert the hook into the same stitch which we have just worked, grab working thread, and the next one. Again, grab the working thread and the next one. Again, insert the hook into the last which we have just made. So it is our basic pattern for this bag. Three. Again, insert and work 3 together. So you make 3 loops, work 3 together, and so on. And always start in the stitch we have just worked. And last repeat of 3 stitches worked together as a single crochet. So we will have 6 repeats in spiral. Here just it's important to make a transition, and then you can stop counting the stitches and just go on working in spiral like this. I'll take the marker off, and so you see we have this pattern. We see that this V shape, as we were working the base pattern, we can go on working as we are used to. So we will be working into first here into the previous stitch, and then we'll start working into those vertical V-shape half loops, into the right half loop of this vertical V shape as we did for the base, and 3 together, then into the left half loop here and under the braid. Now on the right, into the right half loop, this, then into the left half loop, insert, grab working thread, and the next one into the right half loop. So everything as we did for the base pattern, just here we are working in a very small circle, very small spiral, and so we go on working like this till you have made 37 centimeters, or the length that you need. Again, into the left half loop, into the right half loop, work together, and into the left half loop, and a second, and work together. So you see here the work is going to be much thicker, but just do not tighten the stitches additionally, work loose. Again, we'll work a little bit together, and then you'll go on working on your own. So here we are working our base pattern, but we are working it in a very small circle in spiral. Left and the right. Again, left and right. And so like this, you see we already have part of a handle, soft part of it will be into the holder, and a little thicker one will already be a handle. So make 37 centimeters or more or less. Go on working like this in spiral, and we'll meet when you have made the length of the handle that you need. We will insert it into the holders, adjust it to the back, and it will be ready. So I have already made the handle. It has 30, let me see, I'll measure it. I skip a little bit that's going to be into the holder, 35 centimeters, and I'd like to make it so 35 centimeters, maybe slightly shorter. So at any moment when you see that the length of the handle is enough, you just start working with the single crochets into the back half loops to make that softer part, which you will insert into the holder. And again, make a single crochet. You have to make 1.5 to 2 centimeters of such single crochets into back half loops so that your work is soft and you'll be able to insert it into the holder like this. Go on working for about 2 centimeters, working into back half loops. Several more, I think that will do. Yeah, I think that will do. That's it. So, and then we cut it. And I'll hide it. And here you can either sew it or melt it with lighter and press it to the base, it will remain put. Like this. So all this will be hidden into the holder anyway. So I have prepared some tools and one holder to show you how to insert the handle into the holder. So here I have two parts. So let's insert it into the holder. You will need such a screwdriver because it is difficult to insert it into the holder. It's difficult to, you can insert the first row, but then it is difficult, so you need to take some tool which will help you. You have just to push it there. Don't worry, you're not going to break it. If it is soft and you haven't tightened the stitches, then you'll be able to push it into the holder. So that's it. Now you can fix it with nails. I take a screwdriver and nails and insert them into the openings. Okay, the next one. Sometimes it's difficult. So I have installed the nail. I don't know why, maybe it is faulty one. I can't screw it into the opening, but we install the same holder to the other end of the handle, and that's it. It will be ready. We have just to join it to the back. Here is our handle with lobster clasp holders. I had to take this nail off and to change it with another one because it's just a faulty one, so I have to change it. Yeah, but anyway, handle looks really cool. So let's attach it to the back and it will be ready. Attach it to the half rings, and then I want to show you that you can also add such a chain. It's a furla chain. I used to wear it on the circles, but you can also attach such lobster clasps and attach it. But if, for example, you have such a semicircle and a lobster clasp, you can attach it to these lobster clasps that you already have here. So if you need a long shoulder strap, you can attach both short handle and a long shoulder strap, and it also looks really fine. So that's the finished look. That's our Chicago bag with short and long handles, with the lining inside. That's how it looks on the inside. It's really roomy, so you can put a lot into it. And then it has a flap, a clasp, a flap, and a bag lock. So, thank you for watching. That's the end of our masterclass, how to make a Chicago bag. I want to show you all three bags because they all are wonderful, each in its own way, depending on the color and the clasp that you have chosen. So thank you for choosing my masterclass. I hope that you enjoyed working with this masterclass, and I'm really pleased to see your works, so please share them with me. I wish you a lot of inspiration, nice stitches. Thank you for watching and see you. That was Oksana Rudko and La Accessory Brand.